Back in Knoxville, Tennessee, the 1998 International Team Gymnastics Championships continues, and you're looking at what is almost a dinosaur in gymnastics. 23 years of age, Cristian Leric from Romania. He's been to 3 world championships, and these guys are probably sick and tired of hearing about the Romanian women. But they say they want to feed off their success, and out he goes.
Wow. And that was very close to not only a big deduction, but also a big fall.
Cristian's only doing 2 events here. He was injured a couple of weeks ago in Venezuela, a shoulder injury on a high bar skill.
Well, this is a very, very poor start for the Romanian men.
Especially when your team leader goes out there and does this.
With the mistakes that he already has, this routine will not score in the 9s. So putting a lot of pressure on his Romanian teammates. Just the dismount remaining. You heard the bell. That means he has another 20 seconds to dismount. And
best pass.
Yeah, awesome. You know, a few years ago, a pass like that at the end, everybody would be cheering wildly. It's so difficult, takes so much power. You get a whole 1/10 of a point back.
No big
That's
deal.
all you get. And in men's gymnastics, if you meet all of the normal requirements, you start at an 8.6, so you need 1.4 in bonus back to max out at a 10-0 potential score.
Now Lu Bin from Beijing.
Last year he was a junior at the international event. This is his favorite, he says.
Now, Tim, is every touch of the horse a deduction?
Every time your body touches the horse, it is definitely a deduction, no question about that. Saw a little bit of a leg separation there. The athletes are earning the bonus points through skills like that. That's called a Russian element on the end. And wow, that was
just jumped off.
Kind of missed his hand a little bit there. Pommel Horse, it is so tricky because you can be completely on 1 minute, and just like balance beam, if your shoulders get just a little bit too far off the center of that horse, you're going to be on the ground staring at those pommels, and it is a bad, bad feeling.
I'm thinking, Tim, of Ron Brandt, the American coach, who told you and I that the theme for the American team today is fight through it and stay on the equipment.
And it's very, very critical. You try so hard to get the younger athletes to just get that concept down, to understand it.
And a lot of times with the Chinese, it doesn't seem like they have that fighting attitude.
Well, oftentimes it certainly looks or appears that their technical skill is there, because that's not all that off. He just didn't really go for the pommel, didn't grab aggressively firm enough.
Most unfortunate because it came after that fabulous hand sequence. His score at 8.70. That is exactly the score of Cristian Leric as he tries to help our ratings. And now John Roethlisberger. And we mentioned the dinosaur quality of Leric. How about Roethlisberger, who's been around for a decade now at the age of 27, trying to see if he could somehow stick around and be part of the American picture in Sydney.
His 3rd Olympics, possibly.
That would just be unbelievable, I'll tell you.
Tim, he told us before the competition he's actually downgraded his routine since American Cup.
Well, he had some major problems in the American Cup on a number of events, and rings was probably the biggest problem.
It shook him up too, didn't it?
It did. Actually hurt his shoulder a little bit, and told me he couldn't remember the last time he had such a bad competition. Right there is the skill. He downgraded a little bit. He does it in the tucked position as opposed to keeping his legs straight. Makes it a little bit easier to get the skill around. But because he's doing that, he starts off with a slightly lower score.
Good, Johnny.
But hits.
Good job.
He stuck it. It's the equivalent of a figure skater taking a triple and turning it into a double.
Great job. Way to go.
No such blow-up as he had in Fort Worth, Texas, and now you're going to see the man on the American scene. 23-year-old Blaine Wilson from Columbus, Ohio, now out of Ohio State, training in Colorado Springs. The 2-time national champion blew away the field in that American Cup.
Well, I can say with just about 100% certainty that this will be an awesome routine. Blaine is so strong, and the thing he does very well, look at that, exactly. He holds the position, but he's also extremely level right there, perfectly flat to the ground.
Yes.
And the cross perfectly level.
Come on, bring it on.
Tim, I don't know. We're going to see a Chinese athlete shortly who is supposed to be the strongest man in the world, the ring man. But, you know, Blaine, I think he's trying to show him up right here. Try and top this.
Well, it's a great exercise.
Hey, Tim, my only negative thought is, would you want to be this good 2.5 years away from the Olympics?
Well, you know, it's a very good point. It is a long, long road, even at this point, up into Sydney. But in gymnastics, it's also critical. The reputation is so important. And it takes a few years for the international judges all around the world to get to know the name Blaine Wilson. If they know you, they are much more willing to give up a big score.
A huge score, 9.85. So 23 seems old for some gymnasts, and it seems so young for others. The United States making the move around the gym. The switch after one rotation here in Knoxville, Tennessee. USA in front by 1.4.